Hello, Dreadfuls. Welcome back to the Demimonde. Today we are talking about the Season 3 premiere of Penny Dreadful, the day Tennyson died. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, Dreadfuls. Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV. We're here doing Penny Dreadful After Show Season 3 premiere. So excited. As you can tell, I am Marissa Serafini. I'm back once again. I'm very, very excited to talk about this season. You can follow me on Twitter at SeraphiniTV. You may have noticed that some of my panelists aren't back, but we have a great panel lined up for this season. Ladies, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up? I'm Angela Struck, and you can follow me at @TheAngelaStruck on Twitter.
Hey guys, I'm Renee Ariel. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Renee Ariel.
Excellent. Yes, this should be a really exciting season.
This was great.
So much to talk about. The day Tennyson died. First episode, premiere episode. Really quickly, what were your thoughts? Let's start with you.
Well, it was such a whirlwind. There were some new characters, and just seeing kind of the new place where all of our favorite characters are now, as opposed to at the end of the last season. Very dramatic, and I'm excited to see what happens this season.
Very excited.
Yeah, I cannot believe that all of our favorite characters that are so good together are now apart and like really far apart, and I just want to see like where those storylines go and if they get back together, which I hope they do.
Excellent. Yeah, I completely agree. I had the same thought that went through my head because all of our favorite characters are back, yet this is probably the first episode none of them actually interacted with each other. And it's such a different dynamic when they're separated and on their own. Obviously, no one's like really in a good mental or physical state. Like they all fell apart.
Yeah, it's
literally
the
and
definition of like better together.
Exactly.
All of them were just really down and out.
Like poor Vanessa, she is roughing it in that house. Like she covered up all her furniture. She wasn't eating.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
It was bad.
We'll definitely get to it. There's so much to talk about. I think for a premiere, it was really a great. I mean, it was a fairly slower episode.
Yeah,
up
I
until
definitely
like, the
agree
last
with
10
that.
minutes,
Yes.
which we'll get to.
Yes,
but I think it was a really good, strong episode to just start where the characters are right now.
Yeah, it's very filmic, this show. So they're kind of starting, easing us into it and setting things up, I think, this episode.
Definitely.
But it's still I'm invested.
Very invested. Always invested. Let's start with John Clare, first of all.
Poor John Clare.
Poor John Clare.
I thought he was in the worst situation.
It just keeps
On
getting
the
worse
freezing
for
boat
him.
and everything.
Yes.
It was just like...
Yeah, as we know, John Clare, he left because, at the end of the finale of last season, everyone left their own ways. John Clare, he went on a boat, and as per the canon, that his story of Frankenstein, the monster, would go to somewhere near the Arctic Circle. So he's somewhere north where it's freezing. Apparently, that whole cruise ship died.
Right.
There's only about 2-3 people left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I just
killed
love
the
when he
boy.
got off and started walking.
I know,
I mean,
going
he's just
home.
like, I've just been hanging out on the boat the whole time, but now I'm over it.
Yeah, but even before that. But what did you think of the men there, just questioning that they shouldn't be eating humans? It's unholy and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a theme throughout the show. Right and wrong, holy, demonic,
Consciousness.
everything. So, I mean, it felt really, apropos. But it was a tough scene. I mean, what do you do, in that situation? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like when it gets to the point that you're even talking about the idea of eating each other, the thoughts going through your head. I think Mr. Clare left at the right time. I mean, probably should have left a little bit before, but he killed the little boy, went on his way to go home.
But it was interesting. He remembered.
Yes, I was
His
just going
history.
to ask you about that. So we see John Clare sings to the little boy who's sick and probably dying because of the cold weather and the hypothermia. But it was interesting to see John Clare have some compassion, and which is ironic because he's probably the most inhuman person who has the most human feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
Very
is
true.
I think that's just great character development for him, where he started as being the most wild person to the most human person.
Yeah.
They're humanistic more so. But the song he sings to the little boy all through the night, which is a very folk song. That's a popular song.
Right.
But during this, he has that flashback memory of who he really was.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
the first time he's really had that realization,
Yeah,
right?
he's-
If I remember correctly. I don't think he's really connected with that part of him, his past before yet.
So what do you think this will do to John Clare's character? Do you think we'll see more of this in the future?
I think they wouldn't just show him remembering one little aspect of his past life per se and then just get rid of that idea completely. I bet he's going to start remembering things, and then I assume his character will become even more compassionate. Hopefully we'll be able to get those relationships that he's so hoped to have this entire show.
I'm assuming too he's going to try and find his wife,
His
and his
family.
family, and that's going to open up a whole nother storyline to what she thinks of him now, and if she wants anything to do with him, if she views him as a monster, if she can see, the person in the heart that he was before.
Yeah. I wonder if his son is still alive.
Because they showed him looking ill,
Yeah.
like this boy, and that
There's-
seems like that's what jogged the memory.
there's a whole correlation of a
Right.
sick child right now to the memory of his sick child that we're led to believe that was his sick
Right.
child. So it makes me think if he's still alive or not.
I don't know.
Wonder.
I don't
And
know.
if he died, maybe he'll want Victor Frankenstein to bring him
I
back.
know. Go find him.
Oh. I mean, we've had revivals of the adults, but not of kids yet.
Right.
And I think that would just take Victor Frankenstein's illness on a whole
Right.
sick
Oh,
level.
100%.
Definitely.
Okay.
It seems like he's kind of done with that side of his business and his practice.
After Lily.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But one more thing. So we see John Clare, he leaves, but before he does, he actually kills the little boy and puts him out of his misery.
Yeah.
That neck snapping was terrible. That's a
Yeah.
horrible
I
sound.
The
know, it made me
crunch.
cringe.
Yeah,
It's a horrible sound.
definitely.
But I think it was good on John Clare to put someone, because he knows someone was suffering. So
I think
he
that
ended it in a good way.
I think it obviously brought him back to what he dealt with the potential death or illness of his child
Yep.
in some form, and I think it made him just not want to put this kid through that, and he knew if he had to, maybe also that memory told him that he had to leave, and if he had to leave and he couldn't protect this little boy, that these people would come eat him, and it would just be a much worse scenario. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what throws people off about John Clare is also the fact that though he is very emotional and does have compassion, he does things very logically. Like when he did snap the little boy's neck, and it was to keep him from suffering, it wasn't an emotional moment for him. It was more so him being like, okay, he's going to suffer and die in a few days, might as well end his suffering now. And I think that's what was
rational a little
shocking.
bit more,
to-
yeah.
Yeah. And it was a different type of death from John Clare, because we've seen his character actually kill ruthlessly and
Right,
mercilessly.
right.
And this was actually something out of just, I think, true compassion,
yeah,
which also just shows how much and how far John Clare has come as a person,
right.
as a being. Anything else about John Clare? All right.
I don't think I think we kind of.
All right. So Ethan Chandler.
I love
know.
Ethan.
I mean, don't we all?
Oh my
love
gosh,
that
he's the
haircut.
best part of the whole show.
Oh my god, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so beautiful. He's so manly. Oh,
You love his hair.
I do love his haircut.
I agree. I
like
like
the
him with short
long
hair.
hair. Am I the only one? I liked his longer hair.
He's all right. I find him more sexy with short hair.
Yeah, me too. I didn't expect that from him.
I don't know if it's he just looks way more clean cut.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he
And
does.
Like he's
Yeah.
already like a wild guy for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
so I like it. It's a little edge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So we saw in the finale of season 2 that he got extradited back to his home country of America, but now he's on a train heading west back to New Mexico. But we have Inspector Rusk. He played a big issue and a big problem throughout, always chasing him down in season 2, and he's pretty much just stuck on that train. But we see all those men shoot up the place and release him.
I know.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, they just
Yeah.
popped up.
I lost track of how many headshots there were.
Oh
There
yeah.
were so many, and it was always like they would make eye contact and then shoot them right there, and I was like, this
They're
is a
trying
lot.
to. I think it was like they're ruthless. They'll look
Yeah.
you dead in the eye and just end your life
Yeah.
without any qualms.
There's a cool shootout though.
Very
yeah.
cool.
It felt very Western.
I just want to know what the witch was doing on the train.
I was gonna say, asked like
This.
the mysterious woman. It looked like Hecate, but
Yes.
what is she? He's like, you can't shoot a defenseless woman. I was like, nah, girl.
Yeah,
you're not
No, she
defenseless."
could have killed the whole train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Leave her
just
there
by,
for a
like,
few more
staring.
minutes.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
And I was like, don't believe her. She's up to something. So
know.
she's obviously watching out for Chandler.
Yes.
Yeah, well, especially how they left off in the season two finale with them talking, and that was never really cleared up, I don't think. And now she's following him.
Yeah.
She's a stalker.
Yeah. She wants to do something with him.
Yeah.
I mean, don't we all?
But I think her actions and reasonings are more nefarious than what a lot of women
Yes.
are when watching
Right,
the
right,
show.
exactly.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
But we find out that it was actually Ethan's father who helped set up the
Right.
release and capturing of him.
Yeah.
Which sometimes it seems like Ethan would rather be arrested and pay his price, be it even death, than see his father again. So this is almost like, I don't know, worst case. Like I feel like the last thing he wants to do is see his father again.
Yeah. I just question how powerful his father
Right.
is.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently really powerful if he can do
To
the
have
whole
a whole
train
reign.
shootout. Yeah, to go get his
Right.
son. And his son kept, I mean, in season 2, even with the first time we saw Hecate, when they were getting coffee and he thought this was the whole thing set up by his father, like he always thinks it's his father behind things. So
Right.
his father definitely has to be very powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, well, as we know, if you follow Penny Dreadful, as you should, Brian Cox, the actor, is casted to play Jared Talbert, Ethan's father. And he'll be coming in the middle of the season, and he's slated for at least 2 episodes.
Nice.
So that should be fun to watch.
yeah,
when he
yeah,
actually
yeah.
comes. But it's when we also see, so he gets carried away by all those men, and they're after him. Yeah, well, it's more so that I loved Ethan's lines like, "Good luck, I'm taking you home to your father. Good
Yeah.
luck." And so, do you think Ethan will skip out and escape?
I think that we all want to see what's going on with the father and that whole relationship. So I think, the writers want to show us that world. But I think that Ethan will be able to defend himself once he gets to the scenario with the father. I think he'll be able to stand up to him and handle that in whatever way is necessary.
Right.
Well, I think because he's a werewolf, and I don't know, I wonder if that's, I mean, it has to be a known thing. It's his dad, right? But is his dad also a werewolf? Does that come from his family? Do they know about it?
Well, because we also saw in season 2 that some things are family oriented and some things are just passed on,
Right.
like genetically.
Right.
So we'll maybe when we get Jared Talbot into these episodes, we'll actually get a full understanding of where Ethan comes from,
Right.
which should be fun.
Yeah.
Because Ethan himself is still a mystery. We're still learning a little bit more about him every episode.
Yeah, definitely. But I think they do know he's a werewolf because I think it was either season 1 or season 2, when the first group of guys that the father sent after them, they knew that he was a werewolf.
Well,
So-
I think they were questioning it, and then they finally got physical proof. That he was a werewolf.
Yeah. So they know something's up with him, I guess.
So what do you think will come first? If Ethan gets a hold of a gun and shoots up the place, or if the full moon comes out first and he'll eat everybody?
I'm going with that one. I think the
He's
latter.
a double threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
He really is. So don't cross him on a bad day.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see where Ethan is in the West. Right now, he's on his own. But that kind of takes us to Sir Malcolm Murray.
Yeah.
Again, another person who left the area. Everyone just went their own ways. But we
Dispersed.
Yes, definitely dispersed. We find out at the beginning of the episode, or the reintroduction for this season, that he's writing a letter to Vanessa, but he's not loving Africa like he used to.
No.
Buried poor son Benny. Oh, I felt so bad when Benny died.
Oh, I know.
We were all mourning.
That was so sad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But I find it sad that Sir Malcolm had this like love for the country of Africa and its traditions and whatnot. And he comes back to this place in such a place of darkness, and he wants to just be rid of that area.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like what I can't pronounce the guy's name, the new Native American character that came in, something.
Catenae.
Catenae.
Really cool name.
Yeah, he kind of said
Could
like
call
his
him K.
purpose in life. His purpose in life is to fight the demons of the below ground in the heavens or something like that. I can't remember the quote, but I really liked it. Until his death, and I think that he has like a calling. I think each of them do, and that's what kind of makes them unique. Is that they've got this calling inside of them that they're kind of restless wherever they are because they know that they have like a greater purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like destiny is a huge theme in this show,
Yeah.
and I think like everything that happens when they're apart is just pretty much telling them like, come back together.
Right.
We're waiting for you.
We've got work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we see the introduction of Catenae, who's also Shirakawa Apache, so he has some ties to Ethan.
Right.
From the same tribe out there. And he actually says that Ethan was pretty much like a son to him.
Right.
And he's trying to convince Sir Malcolm to go back to the West with him to help get Ethan.
Yeah,
Right.
go get Ethan,
Yeah.
Sir
Yeah.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
What do you think of this pairing? Like both of these two guys pairing up to go.
It's
get
two strong pillars of strength coming together. I mean, both. It was like each of them were such titans sitting across from one another at the table. I think it's really strong, and I think especially now that Sir Malcolm will get the letter from Vanessa Ives speaking about her true situation, that she is upset and that she is missing something and that she's missing, Ethan. I think he's going to feel even more of a need to go help Ethan out and go to New Mexico.
I think it'll be definitely fun. I did love the line, like, our son needs us. And where is your heart? Be who you are.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was just like a really convincing way to get Sir Malcolm off of his hump
Right.
Yeah.
to go
Right.
to the West.
Right.
Should be fun to watch, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
exactly.
that
Yeah, I
play
think his
out.
heart is in helping Vanessa and fighting evil.
Fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to one of my favorite characters to watch, Victor Frankenstein.
He's so great.
He's dreamy.
Every actor on this show is just first class. But his role takes him to such dark places. It's really incredible to watch.
I love Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Victor, more so.
Victor.
I love his voice. He's so good. Hair is
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. But we see he's not doing well either.
Yeah.
Everyone
He
is
misses
literally
Lily.
just like gone.
He's a junkie.
yes, he's
Yeah.
an addict. More
He
so.
just, I remember even last season, like, he always looks very tired with the red under his eyes, but now I feel like it's just now he's getting some stubble, which I like the stubble. I like a little bit of scruff. But I feel like he just keeps looking a little bit worse and worse, and he's kind of falling apart more so. And I hope he gets better, truthfully.
Yeah, he's definitely in his darkest I think we've ever seen him by far.
Definitely on the downward spiral, as his character has always really been.
Yeah.
It's just crazy now, like looking back. If you go back to the first episode in season 1, everyone was just so posh and luxurious and
Yes.
very well put together.
Yes.
And then at the beginning of this episode, everyone's
Everyone's falling
apart.
disheveled, disoriented, disintegrated. More so, it's
Yes.
just it's crazy just how much things can change.
The
within
only one who's
people.
kept it together is Lyle.
I know. We'll get to
looking
Lyle.
So great.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to Lyle. But Victor's at this point where he's really lowly in life, and he calls up his good friend, Dr. Jekyll.
Yes.
What do you think of Dr. Jekyll?
So excited that he's, gonna be a major part of the show now.
Oh my goodness.
I like
have
him
no
a
idea.
lot. I think he's gonna help pick him up, and he's trying so hard because, I mean, Victor Frankenstein is so down about Lily and life, and this guy's like, listen, we're gonna get it together, we're gonna figure this out. And it's nice to see him having a true friend.
Well, I just love the part when he's like, what happened to my colleague who was so angry? It's like, it's Mr. Hyde.
Right, right.
That's Mr. Hyde. So I'm excited to see that come out as well. And
Yes, Dr. Jekyll, played by Shazad Latif. I love this portrayal of Dr. Jekyll because
yeah.
I've seen a lot of different and read,
Right.
you know, the story and whatnot. But this is a very interesting portrayal.
Right.
And I think Penny Dreadful just does so good of who they cast for like
Yeah.
iconic characters.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is not someone that I would have pictured for this character. So I'm like very open to the possibility of what he can bring.
Right.
Something new to
Yeah.
this, the new aspect of Dr. Jekyll. I'm very, very excited. But I love that there was this question where more so when Dr. Jekyll's talking about Lily and
Right.
destroying it, and then even Victor's like, well, what about you?
Yeah.
But he talks about like the neurological chemicals that, as we know, his character, that there's they foreshadowed, learn to control it, in essence
right.
of my work now, the neurological chemical reactions of the brain and taming the beast
Right.
within. So what do you think that will show for Dr. Jekyll? Do you think that's like setting up for what we might see in the future?
Yeah, I think they're probably definitely going to explore, what he's developed with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and there's two sides, this of his personality and everything. And then I guess they're going to try and do that with Lily. I don't think it's going to work.
Oh my
see.
gosh, I'm so excited.
She's a whole other level. I mean, she's really not human at this point. Her powers are kind of in another realm, come from another realm, I think. And I don't know if they'll be able to just tame it with straightforward.
Yeah, what do you think of their so-called plan they want to domesticate Lily?
I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen. Like the last time they spoke, she was so she's lost it.
She's cold.
She's so cold. She's like pure evil
Yeah,
is how I would
she's evil.
describe her at
Yeah.
this point. I don't think she has a conscience anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't see how they could make her see any light at this point.
I agree, yeah.
Do you think there's like any point of redemption for Lily's character? Like she is someone who can be worth saving?
For the show, I mean, I think it's interesting to just see how crazy she can get.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that there's any way. I mean, even when she was playing that role of the cat purring on his lap, she was fighting it even then. I mean, it really didn't suit her.
Right.
So I think that this part of her was always inside. And I think, what's his name?
Dorian?
Dorian
Gray?
It helped her let it out. But yeah, I don't think there's any going back now.
Yeah. I find it interesting how we didn't see Dorian or Lily.
I know,
in this
Dorian Gray, yes.
Where'd they
yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Very upset. And we talked about it in our previous seasons that we don't see enough of Dorian Gray.
I want
Yes.
to see so much more of Dorian Gray.
I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
like
So
that though. Like I
interesting.
think the writers like that he's such this mystery, that we know very little about because that's who he is as a character. So hopefully, I think they love to get us just little snippets, so we're wanting more.
Yes. And, we've our previous panel, we've talked about it too because Dorian always like comes in and out of episodes. But if you think about it, he's the most removed character from the storylines of the show because we have iconic characters from all these stories and
Right.
whatnot, but they purposely write everyone to tie together, and Dorian's like the odd one out
Yeah.
that we can just go back to every few episodes.
Right.
I feel like eventually they'll have a season that tells us a lot more about Dorian and maybe focuses more on him and has his storyline tie in with the other characters.
Yeah.
I bet that's coming because it is such a fascinating story to tell. And he's so creepy.
Yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, we'll get to Dorian when he actually comes back onto the show. But one more thing about the whole Dr. Jekyll and Victor interaction and whatnot. What do you think of the theme of humans domesticating other humans? But like the whole animal theme that we need to calm them down and domesticate them. I find that very lowly. Or maybe cocky.
Yeah,
And
I
it is
mean,
very cocky.
yeah,
sure.
but Victor Frankenstein is always kind of cocky, I think, in his approach to humans. I mean, it's a science. And these
Science.
are bodies that he's working on the same as, you know, any chemicals or whatever he would be using.
Yeah.
So same as a rabbit on his table or whatever it would be that he was dissecting. So I don't think he views humans the same way we would. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think every single time it even like goes into trying to domesticate another human, it doesn't go well or ends up going bad in some way. So I mean, I don't know how many times it's going to take for them to try again and again and again until they realize that, but
Yeah.
it's not going well. It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But hopefully, maybe he might have a successful. I mean, the first patient that we saw in season 1 and then was killed by Caliban.
Right,
after
that
two.
one was so sweet.
That was like the
liked
only
it. Yes.
potential
Yeah.
one that could have gone.
But he didn't really have to
Right.
tame him. He kind of right when he was alive, he was kind of had a sweet demeanor.
More humanistic nature.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So with one more thing about the Dr. Jekyll, but the story of Jekyll and Hyde actually was published in 1886, and we find out the day Lord Tennyson died was actually 1892. So it does take place in the Victorian England time canon.
Yeah.
So just to historical accuracy. The show is very on point.
Yes. So are you. Yeah,
Seriously.
She's got her facts.
No, I love these stories. Yeah, they're so good.
Great.
Vanessa Ives, Eva Green is fantastic. I say it every single episode, she's just phenomenal.
She's insane. I
Eva
love
Green,
that
that's her name.
character.
Ava Green,
Eva
the
Green, yeah.
actress. She's just fabulous.
Fabulous on all fronts. All right, so we get, of course, Eva Green comes back. She's not in the best state either.
No.
Start the whole episode. The whole manor is completely barren, dirty. Everything like the dishes aren't done, the mail letters aren't answered.
Yeah.
She's not in the best state right now.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
when we're going through the house that there's going to be no one inside, but there's Vanessa.
Yeah,
Like-
the place is a mess.
Yeah.
But what do we think of Ferdinand Lyle coming in?
I thought that was so sweet because he really is a kind character, and even though he's flawed and has made mistakes along the way, he does care for Vanessa and the whole crew. And I thought it was really sweet that he went out of his way to come check on her and get her out of her slump.
Yes.
You know?
I love what you've done with the place.
Yeah. I also love you're living amongst those spiders and you come back to
The mammalian
Yes.
community. I was like,
love that.
oh, Lyle. I definitely love Lyle because he's the most consistent character who brings levity to such a dark
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He's definitely the comedic relief
Yes, absolutely.
without
But-
overdoing it, which I love.
Yeah, and I think he's just such a sweet character.
Yeah.
You just love him. You're
Yeah.
Like, oh, you just give him a big hug.
Yeah.
And I think that he's definitely what Vanessa needed during that time of solitude and loneliness.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he even helps her convince to go see Dr. Seward.
Yeah.
Patty
Patty
LuPone.
LuPone. She's back.
She is back, but she's a different character. She's not Cutwife or Joan Clayton.
Yeah.
She's Dr. Seward.
Yeah.
What do you think of Patty LuPone in this portrayal as a new character?
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, I mean, both of the characters were so strong and like doesn't mince words. You know what I mean? She's just like tells it like it is, and she's kind of this guide and this mentor for her, for Vanessa. Both, I think. You know, so
Absolutely.
it'll be interesting to see how their relationship develops.
Yeah, well, what do you think, Renee?
Yeah, I feel like Vanessa off the bat wants a relationship, whereas maybe she doesn't in return. But I love how straightforward she is, and I think that's the voice that Vanessa needs to hear, as we can see as she actually does try to do something new that the doctor suggests, which I like because we need to get Vanessa out of this funk. But I really want them to develop a close relationship.
Yes. I find it interesting, Dr. Seward, if you guys don't know the canon of Dracula, But Dr. Seward is actually, there's Dr. Jack Seward based on the Dracula story. But the Dr. Seward that we see via Patti LuPone, we only just know her name is Dr. Seward. We don't really know her first name yet. But according to the canon, there is a Dr. Jack Seward, and her secretary, who we'll find out later, we'll get to, Renfield, who is actually a patient of Dr. Seward in Dracula's story.
Interesting.
Yes, he was a psych patient.
Interesting.
Yes.
Which we saw a bit
Yeah, that makes little
of
sense.
instability there with him.
He was a mental patient of
Interesting.
Dr. Seward. So it makes sense how, and I love this portrayal that Penny Dreadful does so well of iconic characters, but their own twist on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But
I thought one thing when you said trying the something new, I thought it was so interesting that her something new was being surrounded by death at this museum. I mean, it's taxidermy. I mean, it's dead animals everywhere.
Yes.
And it's just like it surrounds her everywhere she goes. She's walking and they're giving out the death ribbons, you know. It's just
Right. Yeah, real quickly before we go to the Natural Museum, but the whole interaction between Dr. Seward and Vanessa, what do you think of both of these women, like pretty much like reading each other and profiling more so? What do you think
love
of
it.
Dr. Seward's like reading Vanessa?
I think it's true. I think that's exactly what she's going through. In fact, one of the things she said was, you either lost your family or faith or your love, or all three. And she did. She was on point with that, and I think that was, I mean, probably the first real social interaction Vanessa's had since like Lyle came. So it was a good reality check, I think, for her, and it hit her where it needed to, and I think that was really good for Vanessa, regardless if it was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
she's only missing the part about fighting demons. And,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
just like a
all the
little
evil
part.
spirits.
Whatever.
And,
I mean,
you know, but
this is the first interaction with her.
Yeah.
I feel that's like the third or fourth
Yeah.
session in.
I did like
sure.
how she asked, though, how she pays for things. Because I was
I
wondering
know.
that first. I was like, how is she just sitting around for months and months drinking milk out of dirty bottles and
Yeah.
then, like, she can go pay for psychiatrists?
Well, a little bit.
But, yeah.
a little bit
No, I know. A
We
little
know in
bit.
season 1 that her father was really well-to-do,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
successful, wealthy man. But so who like always provided for the
funny.
family. So we
Yeah.
know that Vanessa comes from a place of wealth.
Yes.
I think it's more so like a trust fund in a way.
Right, right.
Back then.
Never ending one.
Large inheritance, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I did love this moment because I think I find it interesting it took someone else to tell Vanessa her faults.
Yeah.
But it took that moment for Vanessa to actually realize it too and admit that to herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Vanessa kind of came out swinging with, like, this is what I see in you. You want me as your patient. You want to study me. And then she
I'm
just came
interesting.
right back, and really Vanessa took it and listened.
She put her in her place.
Yeah, she did.
I was like, all right.
And it takes
Dr.
a strong
Seward.
woman to do that.
Yeah, it's like you're happy alone. The cycle goes on. Snake
Yeah.
eating its own tail.
Yeah.
It's like Ouroboros. Anyone? I really like this, and I think it'll be interesting to see more sessions. that
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
on and on.
definitely.
But before Vanessa leaves, Dr. Seward's like, just do something new. Eat something new, go somewhere new. And I really like this, which then takes us to the London Natural History Museum. All that taxidermy
Yes.
right there, and the scorpions.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course the scorpions.
Of course, the scorpions, because
Yeah.
that is the physical representation of Vanessa.
Yeah.
That's her whole symbol.
Yeah.
But we meet Dr. Alexander Sweet.
Who seems
Love
like the
him.
perfect guy for her.
But I don't trust
Really?
it.
Right, exactly. He seems too good to be true.
Played by
so.
Christian Camargo. Doctor of the zoological studies there, pretty much the boss. But I think it's... So, do you think that this could be a new potential love interest for Vanessa?
I think it might start to blossom, but I think he has his own secrets, and I don't think he's going to end up being a good character. I think he's going to go bad.
Really?
Because I don't trust it. It's too good to be true. They had chemistry. He seemed decent. I don't trust it.
You know
What do you
something
think?
we don't. I want to know what you
don't.
know.
I'm
read it.
genuinely asking.
I don't know. I mean, I thought he was so sweet, and I thought that there was like a moment of her. I loved when he's talking about how he likes helping the creatures that are down and out, and I can't remember the way he
Stop
described
and
it.
look and wonder. The unloved ones,
Yeah.
unvisited ones, broken and shunned creatures. Someone's got to take care of them.
Right.
I was like, okay, is this a metaphor for you taking care
Right.
of Vanessa?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he could be perfect for her, but she just never kind of
He could
gets
be
that
really
happy
good for
ending. So I feel like it could be too good to be true.
I think
But-
it's definitely. I feel like the people that are typically attracted to Vanessa or go after Vanessa are never the good guys. They're always the bad guys. And I think this could be a bad guy in disguise because we like him too much right off the
Yeah.
bat.
But also she may mess it up, you know. She may not follow through with it, and maybe he is the good guy, but it's still again her that's not ready to get into that positive relationship, just as the doctor said. So
Do you think it'd be too soon if she got into another relationship?
oh yeah, I think she's just got a lot of work to do on herself.
Girl needs to be single
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
while.
she needs to
for
take a
real.
break. Yeah.
Last breakup got her into a funk. She needs to.
I think every relationship she's been in has been
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
has thrown her into a funk.
Yes. Delete her online dating profile. She's off the
Seriously.
market for a little while.
And like her and Dorian, she got possessed by the devil.
Yeah.
And then her and Ethan, she almost killed herself. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of problems with
Yeah.
her and her men. But you know, there was that line with Dr. Seward. It's like, you're drawn to the dark, complicated, impossible men. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you
she
are.
is.
Sums it
Yes,
up.
yeah.
like,
And I also liked
it's
the way she
that.
described how she kind of throws herself, like with her dress and everything. She you know, I really liked that.
Just to draw the eye.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Dr.
But then
Seward,
laughs at
so on
them.
point.
What was it like that? Then just like thinks little of them by the men that are drawn to
yeah.
her, but
Yeah.
for those reasons, because it's like you fool kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
Dr. Seward was just like
Spot
on
on.
point with
Yeah,
I know. I
everything.
love that whole speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hit the nail on the head there. But afterwards, I mean, she's kind of left in like a more positive place now. a more
Yeah.
happier
Definitely.
place.
She was cleaning the house. She
Finally.
was
Cleans her act up more.
yeah,
So.
writing a truthful letter to Sir Malcolm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was sweet.
the day Tennyson died. Well, Alfred Lord Tennyson. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
read his work. He's fantastic.
Yes.
Which is actually October 6, 1892. So that places just where everyone is in the storyline. Because we also find that, like, Sir Malcolm Murray wrote a letter to Vanessa on the exact same day, and now Vanessa's writing a letter back to him.
Yeah.
Yet they don't know it, but they're both writing to each other.
Right.
Takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's not a text message.
Ugh.
They'll get it a
Let's
month
get
later.
the old, I find the old handwriting is just way more classy, and more
Yes.
meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But during the letter, what do you think of? We find out that Vanessa has like completely lost her faith and religion.
How
mean,
could
I-
she not?
yeah, I was gonna
after
say,
everything
same
she's been
thing.
through. I
Yeah.
mean, but at the same point in time, seeing that evil in the world and then, you know, kind of coming out on the other side, I guess would also, it could strengthen your belief in something bigger and more to, you know, out there than just
Yeah.
what we deal with here on Earth, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice to see that she was like coming back to things a little bit, I guess, towards the end of the episode. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we need to give it a little bit of time too, because I mean, after that whole season when she did take the cross off the wall and she definitely lost her faith, I mean, after all that happened, that made sense. And then still, she was in such a rough patch. So I think she needs to pick herself up, and then eventually she will get her faith back.
And, you know, if she has to deal with all of these demons and everything again, she's definitely going to need her faith in order to do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of her strength.
Exactly, and then I find it just there was one of the lines during her letter I found it really sad when she's talking about Ethan. She said, "If I believed in the old words, I would pray for him, but that's gone from
Yeah.
me now." I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, you don't even have faith to pray
the
for
writing
your
on
man.
this show.
I know.
So good.
Writing's so good.
But yes, and I agree. But even at the end of that, she also says the old monsters are gone. Old curses have echoed to silence. So do you think that she's believed that the darkness is completely away from her? Like nothing's after her anymore?
Well, she probably does believe that, but she also doesn't believe in any light. She's in some like middle ground where nothing's happy, nothing's sad. She just feels probably numb.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the, you know, threats that have been so present and in her face prior. She feels a bit more dormant, but I think, I mean, the fact that she's still scratching herself, she looks at the clock and she's kind of still this erratic, you know, person, never feeling at ease. And she obviously sensed Renfield's energy, or, well, I guess he wasn't really possessed Renfield's energy, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she was getting onto it, like that somebody was watching or something was in, because it was funny, she didn't feel as on guard with Dr. Seward. It was in that waiting room that kind of...
Yeah, we'll get to Renfield real quick, but one more thing. At the end of the letter, she goes to the window, and which is really interesting because in like season 1 and 2, there were moments and episodes where she couldn't even be by a window. They're like, you can't get out because people are after you. But the fact that she opens up the window, she's like literally more physically and figuratively open to the world. I find that just a beautiful parallel there. But she recites Lord Tennyson. And the beat happy stars timing with things below. Beat my heart more blessed than heart can tell. Blessed but for some dark undercurrent of woe that seems to draw. But it shall not be so. Let all be well, be well. And that's actually from Maud, which is a famous poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Because the bells are tolling.
Yeah.
A poor poet has died.
Yeah.
That sad day. But that pretty much takes us to the last final scene. Just like, holy crap, that just set up the
None
whole
of us saw that
the
coming.
whole season.
No.
So we see the secretary from Dr. Seward's office, who's also played by Sam Bennett. We find out his name is Renfield. He takes the money, pretty much just goes down to like this dark, dreary market. Hits up with
Got
a
a prostitute.
prostitute.
That was so uncomfortable.
With his 10
scene was
shilling.
so
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
I was like, okay, this is definitely Penny Dreadful.
Yes.
And then, but there was a big whoosh. That's literally what I put him in, a whoosh sound effect. And he's pretty much, he wakes up and he's in a dark, beautiful. Oh my goodness, this whole scene just looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
Lit
Yeah.
and shot fantastically well.
Yeah.
But we see all the, it seems like vampires.
I would say
Oh,
vampires.
there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, I mean, maybe this is just because I've watched too much True Blood, is those vampires were walking in the day when they sold her the ribbons.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I was
because
interested in that.
we see the same mysterious man and the child.
That
Did-
creepy kid.
yeah. You-
So creepy.
The first interaction with them on the streets when they sell that penny ribbon to
Right.
her, did you have any inclination
Thought
that
they were
could be
vampires,
vampires?
definitely.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I knew, I had a feeling that they would end up being the villain of this season, but I
Sure.
wasn't sure exactly which direction they were going to go with them. I just saw the pale, the dark eyes.
Yeah, like the clear indicators were paleness
Blood.
and blood.
Fixating on
I'm
the
like,
blood, yeah.
put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Hello, you have vampires.
Right.
But we hear this creepy voice from the master. Have no fear, child. Tell me about Vanessa Ives. Ooh, this was amazing.
So good.
So good. She who you call Vanessa Ives learned more and informed me. So pretty much Renfield, just like the canon, is pretty much the informant for the master, who we find out is Dracula.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
How great was that? You think we're going to see Dracula? Like actually
yeah.
see him?
Yeah,
We
of course,
have to.
Have to.
Yeah. I didn't know if he's kind of this omnipresent,
Just like there.
master, or if he was actually
Dracula.
a figure. Be interesting.
Should be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I love just how there was the moment where like all those vampires were like creeping in.
Yeah.
And then
Like
they
crawling?
scattered.
Yeah.
They literally scattered just at the sound
Yeah.
of Dracula. So that just shows just how much Dracula. We haven't even seen a physical presence of him, but he has a presence that's
Right.
scary enough to move everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way that they moved around just really freaked me out. I remember
my
there
God.
was like that, I don't know if it was a ladder or what, but the creature that was crawling like
Yeah.
backwards up it, that was so
They're like
freaky.
bats. They were
They-
moving like
Yeah.
bats.
They are.
You know.
Very true.
Yeah.
I think it was just captured so beautifully on screen.
really?
Yeah.
The lighting, the color scheme, just the music
Yeah.
that was swelling during all that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness. That was just a trifecta.
And bend back your neck.
Yes, bend back your neck.
oh gosh.
There we go. Bend your head back. Give me your neck. Give me your throat. Give me your blood.
That show just knows how to give you goosebumps.
Oh my goodness. Never did I see that coming.
No.
and like just how the whole episode was, just establishing where everyone is, and then you of course you have to throw in the creature, pretty much the villain,
Yeah.
right, an antagonist of the season in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was intense,
Amazing.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Renfield, so should be interesting. A little bit more about Renfield if you don't know the canon of Dracula. Renfield is, again, the patient of John Stewart, but he's the person who eats like flies and spiders and birds because he's a mentally ill person. But he was pretty much at the beck and call of Dracula
Interesting.
to be an informant.
Well, we can see that already, I think.
Yeah.
So much. Overall, this was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Amazing
Oh
episode.
my goodness.
Great
It set up
establishing.
so many possible
Yeah.
storylines that I want to see where they go with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many different loose ends right now.
Yeah. Anything else about this episode that we may have missed or we covered?
Trying to think. It's just so much going on.
Yeah. One more thing about Dracula. There's always one more thing because I have a lot. Dracula, the story was actually published in 1897. And the story of Penny Dreadful right now is October 6th, 1892. But actually, the story of Dracula, even though it was published in 1897, it takes place anywhere from like 1760 to 1820. So, again, we're still in the historical canon of
Yeah.
Interesting.
just the Victorian England and
They
all these
plan
stories.
so well.
It's
Yeah.
so
Like, they know what they're
intelligent.
doing. It is.
It is so incredibly intelligent, and I love it. I love it so
One
much.
last thing I thought was
Sure.
really great was when in the museum and he was discussing the scorpions and he's talking about nobody likes to see the sheep. People like danger. You know, people want to see, and it's like that's why we love this show. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah.
it's enthralling to see this
Sometimes-
dangerous, scary,
Yeah.
creepy stuff.
Sometimes watching the darker aspect of a story is more entertaining.
Exactly.
More so. All right, so maybe let's get to predictions then.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, so that preview was pretty amazing.
Yes.
Pretty much scoping like all of season 2. But what do you think will happen with Ethan?
I want Ethan to be reunited with Vanessa, but I feel like they're not going to do it until the end of the season. And it's going to kill me.
You think it's gonna take that long?
Like, I think it will take a while. Maybe,
No.
I don't think it'll be in the first few episodes. I think it will be later on in the season, just to get at us.
Okay.
Well, I think Sir Malcolm's got to go get Ethan. I think he will. I think especially after getting Vanessa's letter, he's going to feel compelled to. And I think either Vanessa will tag along or, you know, they'll reunite when he gets back. But I definitely see them reuniting. I definitely see her dealing with these vampires and this threat. So Ethan's going to come help her. Mm-hmm. One way or another, I think the team will reunite.
Has to.
And
They have to.
Yeah.
Because they're all just like, they're pretty lost by themselves.
Yeah.
They need to band together again.
Together,
Yeah.
they're the dream team.
Their unique nature. That was
Unique,
it.
quote,
They
unquote,
all
unique.
have these unique natures that really don't work well without the other.
Yeah, and I mean, we even saw it in like season 1 and 2, just the whole theme of them banding together. I mean, every time they went out on like a big mission or quest and whatnot, it's like we're in this together.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was their whole, pact between each other.
Right.
And I think that's what makes just like all the characters, friendships and relationships like so meaningful.
Right.
Yeah, well, they all accept each other for their inner demons. And that definitely brings them closer together because in their other relationships, or I guess just in society, they're always worried about just people not accepting them for who they are. I feel like they have to hide who they are.
Absolutely. So what do you think will happen with Victor Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, and I'm sure they're going to cross paths with Dorian Gray and Lily.
Yes.
What do you think is going to go
I
down?
want to know
if
how
that
they think they're
happens?
going to get Lily.
Right.
I know.
I was like, they make it sound so easy to just get her to the laboratory and
Let's just get her in domestic.
work on her, social issues. I don't know. It's just like, it'll be interesting to see how they're going to get her from Dorian, because I don't think he's going to give her up easy. And if they even can, and what happens there.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think they're in over their heads. I think Lily is a psychopath at this point. They need to let it go.
Demonic.
If she's not bothering them, I mean,
In fairness, Dorian's kind of a psychopath too.
Yeah, they're
perfect
both
for
like,
each other.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
They're
think that's why
match-
they work together.
Yeah.
But what do you think that'll happen when John Clare finds out about what's happened to Lily
Oh gosh.
and what they're planning on doing with? Because Lily was supposed to be for John Clare,
Yeah.
Right.
Which I mean, you can't
Right.
plan that stuff. That was already
Yeah.
a no-go.
so I don't think he's gonna be happy.
No.
Not at all.
All right. Any other predictions on your end?
I
guess
so
we'll
much. We just
see
gotta
what
wait and
happens.
see.
Well, I'm very excited for this season.
Me
too.
A lot of new characters to look
Yes.
forward to, and a lot of
Yes.
good storylines. Even though Dracula's storyline has been done so many times, we just know with the strength of John Logan and like the amazing writing ability he has, it's gonna be freaking.
Oh,
phenomenal.
yeah.
He's gonna reinvent it. Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing. All right.
so
So
excited.
in the
Same.
meantime, where can everyone keep following you?
I'm Renee Ariel. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel.
And I'm Angela Struck. You can follow me on Twitter at the Angela Struck and on Instagram at Angela Struck.
There you go. And I'm on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. And you can follow all of us here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV. Rate, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you think about today's episode and what your hopes are for season 3. So many great things to talk about. We're really excited for the season. A lot more to look forward to. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.